So you want to dive deep into MICA.
Huh? Buckle up.
Yeah, this EU regulation.
It's a big one.
It's going to shake things up.
Big time.
In the crypto world.
The crypto world.
As we know it.
Absolutely.
And you've come to the right place to get the full download.
Yeah.
From the basics.
We gotcha.
To the finer points.
That's right. We're talking about the EU's first comprehensive framework for regulating crypto assets. The Markets in Crypto Assets Regulation, MICA for short.
Michael.
And the countdown is on. It goes live December 2024.
Now, you're probably wondering what this means for you.
Yeah.
Like, as a user.
Right.
And for the companies out there operating in the crypto space.
For sure.
And that's exactly what we're going to unpack today.
Yeah, MICA aims to find that sweet spot between encouraging innovation in the blockchain and digital ledger technology space.
Great.
DLT for short.
Okay.
And protecting folks like yourself, consumers and investors.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And they're doing that with what I like to call an inside-out approach.
Okay.
So instead of trying to wrangle every single crypto asset out there,
Right.
MICA focuses on the issuers of these assets and the service providers who facilitate their exchange.
It's about setting ground rules for the key players. For example, let's say a company wants to launch a stablecoin in the EU. You know, those tokens designed to mirror the value of traditional assets like currencies. Under MICA, they'd need to get authorization, publish a detailed white paper outlining their project, and hold a reserve of assets to back that stablecoin.
Show me the receipts.
Exactly.
Right, the financial version of that.
Yes.
And for good reason.
Why? Of course.
This is designed to prevent those wild swings and collapses we've seen in the past and build more trust in the system.
Absolutely. Now, it's important to note that MICA isn't trying to reinvent the wheel entirely.
Okay.
It specifically excludes crypto assets that are already covered by existing financial services laws.
Right.
So think traditional financial instrument deposits. Those are already spoken for. This is targeted regulation for the crypto-specific stuff.
Okay, so let's unpack how MICA breaks down the crypto world.
Okay.
It classifies crypto assets into three main types: asset reference tokens, e-money tokens, and everything else.
Right.
So you can probably guess what asset reference tokens are.
Yeah.
They're tied to the value of other assets, like a fiat currency or gold, aiming for that stability that we were talking about.
Then you have your e-money tokens, which are similar to electronic money, pegged to a single currency. And finally, there's a broader category for all other crypto assets, like utility tokens that don't fit neatly into the first two boxes.
And each of these categories has its own rulebook, tailored to its quirks and risks.
One of the most important things to understand about MICA is the role of those white papers we mentioned.
Right.
We're not talking about some dusty academic paper here.
Right.
These are comprehensive documents that need to be crystal clear, transparent, and easy for the public to understand. They're basically a legally binding promise.
No more shady promises or hidden risks buried in the fine print, right?
That's it.
If a company wants to play in the EU's crypto sandbox, their marketing better match what's in that white paper.
Absolutely.
Transparency is key.
Right. And here's a big one for all you users out there. MICA offers retail investors a 14-day withdrawal period for certain crypto assets. Think of it as a cooling off period, similar to what you see in other consumer markets. This could make people feel more secure dipping their toes into crypto, knowing they have a safety net.
On the flip side, this could make companies more cautious about their marketing, right? No more overpromising and under-delivering if they know users can back out.
For sure.
But not all crypto assets are created equal in the eyes of MICA.
Got it. There's a special category for what are called significant asset referenced and e-money tokens. Think tokens with a massive user base, a sky-high market cap, or huge trading volumes. To give you a sense of the scale, one of the criteria for significant status is having over 10 million holders.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of users.
Imagine if a token like Ethereum, with its massive following, reached that 10 million holder threshold under MICA. The regulatory spotlight would be intense. This kind of scrutiny could impact its price volatility and even influence how developers approach updates.
It's like they say, with great power
Yeah.
comes great regulatory oversight, right?
I could say that.
Comes great regulatory oversight, right?
You could say that. And speaking of oversight, MICA gives regulators some serious teeth.
Okay.
They have the power to investigate, suspend, or even ban activities they deem harmful to investors.
Right.
Market integrity or financial stability.
Right, yeah. Now, before anyone panics,
Right.
this isn't about squashing innovation. MICA isn't laying down the law just for the sake of it.
Yeah.
It's about making sure things are built on a solid foundation.
Exactly. Take algorithmic stablecoins, for example. There's been a lot of buzz about them.
Right.
And some folks thought MICA might ban them outright.
Right.
But it's more nuanced than that. MICA doesn't impose a blanket ban. However, if those algorithmic stablecoins aim for stability by referencing other assets,
Okay.
they'll face the same scrutiny as asset reference tokens.
It's like saying, we see you,
Yeah,
and we're keeping a close eye on you.
right. Exactly.
MICA lays out the rules of the road, but it's not trying to dictate every twist and turn
Yeah.
in the journey.
And what's fascinating is that we're already seeing MICA's influence even before it's officially in play.
Right.
Several companies are already making moves to get ahead of the game, announcing plans for initial public offerings
Right.
of asset reference tokens that are designed to be MICA compliant from day one.
It's like they're saying, we're here to play by the rules EU. So even before December 2024, we're seeing the market react
Right.
and adapt to these new regulations.
It really highlights how much companies value regulatory clarity.
Uh-huh.
MICA could be the key that unlocks even greater institutional adoption of crypto in the EU.
Right.
Big players who were hesitant to dive in due to the regulatory uncertainty
Right.
may finally see a clear path forward.
It's like MICA is rolling out the red carpet,
Right.
or maybe the green blockchain,
Right.
for those big institutions.
Yeah.
And it's not just the big fish feeling the
Yeah.
current, right?
You're right. On the other side of the spectrum, national authorities have started supervising smaller crypto asset service providers.
Okay.
Those with fewer than 15 million users,
Right.
the ones who don't hit that significant threshold.
So MICA is already making waves, both for the giants and the startups
Right.
in the crypto sea. It's not just a theoretical framework anymore.
And if we zoom out and look at the bigger picture, MICA's impact could ripple out even further.
Okay.
This kind of clarity around regulations could spark a whole new wave of innovation, with companies laser-focused on developing crypto assets and services that align perfectly with MICA's guidelines.
That's like having a treasure map. Instead of stumbling around in the regulatory jungle,
Yeah,
companies now have a clear path to navigate the crypto landscape. And that's exciting.
it definitely is. But you know what they say about the best laid plans, right?
Right.
We can't predict the future with 100% certainty, but more often than not, greater regulatory clarity paves the way for increased investment and activity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's not just about attracting those big investments. MICA's focus on transparency,
Right.
accountability, and putting the user first could be a game changer for building trust in the crypto market, especially for those just dipping their toes in,
Right.
everyday investors like you.
That's a really important point. Trust is the name of the game in finance. And MICA's emphasis on consumer protection could go a long way in making people feel more secure exploring the world of crypto.
But couldn't this also create some hurdles for smaller companies trying to enter the EU market? Meeting all those compliance costs can be a heavy lift, especially for startups with limited resources.
You've hit on a really important consideration.
Right.
It's a bit of a tightrope walk. On one hand, we want to protect consumers and ensure stability. On the other hand, we don't want to stifle innovation or create an environment where only the biggest players can compete.
Right.
It's a balancing act for sure.
It is. And this brings up another big question. How will this impact the global crypto scene? The EU is a major player, but it's not the only game in town. Could MICA's ripple effects reach beyond the EU's borders?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? We often see that when one major player, like the EU,
Right.
makes a bold move, it can influence how other countries approach similar challenges.
Right.
MICA could become the blueprint for crypto regulation in other jurisdictions.
So instead of a patchwork of different rules and regulations around the world,
Yeah,
we might see a more unified approach to crypto, with MICA setting the standard.
it's definitely a possibility. But remember, the crypto market is global,
Right.
and creating a truly unified approach requires international cooperation, which, as we all know, can come with its own set of hurdles.
It's true. Getting everyone on the same page can be a challenge.
Exactly. And that brings us to the heart of the matter. How might MICA impact the global competitive landscape for blockchain and crypto innovation?
Will it solidify the EU's position as a leader in the blockchain space, attracting the brightest minds and the boldest projects? Or could it inadvertently push innovation to other parts of the world with less stringent rules, those crypto cowboys looking for a new frontier?
It's a question that's got everyone in the cryptosphere buzzing. And the answer is far from simple. It all depends on how these forces play out. The drive for innovation, the need for consumer protection, and the global nature of this technology.
It's a fascinating puzzle, and MICA is just one piece, albeit a pretty big one. But as with any good puzzle, it's not just about the individual pieces, it's about how they all fit together to form the bigger picture.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to stay curious, to keep asking questions, and to keep exploring this ever-evolving landscape.
Well said. So before we wrap up our deep dive into MICA,
Okay.
let's recap what we've learned today.
Sounds good.
We started by unpacking MICA's mission to bring balance to the crypto Wild West, encouraging innovation while safeguarding users like yourself. Remember, this isn't just about stopping the bad actors. It's about building a framework for sustainable growth.
We talked about MICA's targeted approach focusing on the issuers and service providers rather than getting bogged down trying to regulate each individual crypto asset. And we explored how MICA categorizes different types of crypto assets with tailored rules for each.
We dove into the nitty-gritty, the importance of transparency with those comprehensive white papers, that 14-day safety net for retail investors, and the stricter oversight for those significant tokens with the potential to rock the market.
And we explored the potential ripple effects of this landmark regulation, from increased institutional adoption to the need for international cooperation in a globalized crypto market.
It's a lot to take in, but that's what makes this space so captivating.
Right.
MICA is a bold step for the EU, and its impact will be closely watched by the entire world.
Absolutely. And one thing is certain. The conversation around crypto regulation is far from over. In fact, it's just getting started. This is a dynamic space, constantly evolving, and staying informed is key.
Yeah, and I said it better myself. So keep those minds curious, keep asking questions, and who knows, maybe we'll be doing another deep dive on this very topic in the near future. Until then, happy exploring. And as always, thanks for taking this deep dive with us.